Joining me right now to discuss American Majority's CEO Ned Ryun and Christie Strategies, LLC, and former special assistant to President George W. Bush, Ron Christie. Good to see you both. Ned, I know you're a fan of Roy Moore's, and I know you want him to win. What's his shot at this point?
Well, I would first say, Trish, maybe not a fan, but I definitely want to see him win. I would actually say I think his odds of winning are pretty good.
That's fair. I should temper that. You just want him to win for political purposes.
Well, I think he's going to win by 6 or 7 points. I do. I don't think at the end of the day it's going to be that close. And I'm not dismissing the allegations against Roy Moore. And I think if and when he wins next week and goes into the Senate, I do think that there will be an ethics investigation into him. And if any of these allegations are actually proven true, I think he's then morally obligated to step down. But Trish, in all of this that's happening the last few weeks, whether it's with Al Franken or John Conyers, we actually have real proof to their sexual harassment. We have photographic proof of Al Franken basically assaulting a sleeping woman. We have payments with John Conyers, and quite frankly, we have payments from a Republican congressman of Texas who I think should resign as well. And so I think this is a good thing. At the same time, we don't want to have political vigilante hangings where we say things are true unless you can prove them false. It used to be due process, Trish, where things were false until you prove them true. And I think we need to be very careful right now in this whole situation. People that are guilty should resign. But until allegations are proven true, we need to hold judgment and just see where this goes.
So follow that through for me. In this particular case with Roy Moore, he's disputing all of this. He's saying this isn't true. And by the way, a lot of Republicans down there, they don't believe it's true. They believe they're made-up allegations. So when you talk about him winning by 6 or 7 points, that may have something to do with it. They hate the media enough, and they believe that this is all made up. But with Moore, and now this woman coming out saying that she wrote part of that inscription, does that change the equation in your view as well, in that, maybe there's a little something for him to hang his hat on when he's declaring his innocence?
Oh, I do, Trish. And I think, the poll that I saw earlier this week, 83% of likely Republican voters in Alabama think that these charges against Roy Moore are either definitively or likely false. And so that's why I say I think that he will win. In regards to this yearbook, I think this does change a lot of the equation. Here Gloria Allred and this lady had come out and said this is definitive proof. And now we're hearing that story walked back a little bit as to what parts of that inscription in the yearbook are true. And so I do think that it raises questions. What part of these allegations are actually true? And again, let's see where the facts go. In the meantime, people of Alabama get to decide next Tuesday who's going to be the next senator. They don't believe this.
Ron Christie, how complicated does this become for Republicans, though? In other words, if Roy Moore is elected and the Democrats are out there shoving Al Franken out the door, and we'll see whether or not that happens, because he gave himself a little bit of a window with he's going to resign in the next couple of weeks. But if they shove him out the door and Roy Moore goes in, what are the Democrats going to do? What's their playbook? Are they going to use this against Republicans more and the president himself?
Well, good afternoon to you, Trish. Yes, absolutely. This is not a legal issue that Ned was describing. This is an optics issue for Republicans. If Roy Moore wins, and I don't think it'll be by 6 or 7 points, but I think he wins handily next Tuesday, what we're going to find is the Democratic National Committee is going to start running ads against Donald Trump. He's going to run them against the Republican majority and say the Republicans don't have the moral high ground when it comes to dealing with issues and allegations of sexual assault. I would say to you, as a lawyer, as an officer of the court, I'm looking at an individual who was disbarred and removed from office twice for being the Alabama Supreme Court justice. Why? Because he did not follow the law.
So to me, that's the issue, though, Ron. All this, he's disputing these allegations. You could leave that to the side for a moment and say this is a man who didn't follow the law and did not uphold the law. And when Ned and I talk a lot about sanctuary cities and how ridiculous it is that all these politicians think that they can ignore federal law. And Ron, is that what it's going to come down to? At least in your head, in terms of why he doesn't deserve this position?
I think it's a question about morality, and I think it's a question of ethics. And these allegations have swirled around the judge for many, many years now. These women who have come forth and have actually spoken on the record sound credible to me. And why would you seek the high office of going to the United States Senate when we have this climate here in Washington, D.C. right now, where it appears that a lot of people have ethics problems and morality problems, and hand an issue where none of the other 99 members of that body, I believe, want to serve with him? You're going to have a situation, the Ethics Committee is going to immediately convene hearings.
Okay, so maybe they toss him out, right? I mean,
Yeah,
that's perhaps part of the plan. They get the seat, and then they say bye-bye, and they get to put their own person in there, but they keep the Republican there. And that's what they care about, and I imagine you do too.
Correct. Let me say one last thing, Ned. Is it really worth it to keep one Senate seat for one person who has such an ethics cloud above them? I think the honorable thing for him to do would be to step aside and let a more honorable person run and win that seat for the Republicans.
Ned? Late, right?
First of all, that's not going to happen. It's a little late, Ron, but I will say this. I find the timing of these allegations in the last 5-6 weeks before the election highly questionable. Ron, I am not dismissing the seriousness of these allegations. At the same time, again, the timing of them, now some of the news that we're getting today, highly questionable. At the same time, Trish, I think in many ways this story will continue across both party lines with, I think, more names being revealed in regards to this congressional hush fund. I don't think the Democrats in this cynical ploy will be able to gain the high moral ground because there will be, I think, dozens of Democrats and Republicans' names coming out in the next few weeks.
Unbelievable. That hush fund is just unbelievable.
Unbelievable. And that we should have full transparency and disclosure on that. We need to know who these people are.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you so much, Ned and Ron. Good to see you guys.